What's going on, everybody? It's Logan, also known as the Don from the Unrefusables. This is going to be the second video in the Interactive Broker series. This one's going to be about order entries, and then specifically with hotkeys and how to be managing from the table view here, your trades. Now, in terms of the best way to do this, this is where you need to decide what kind of trader you are and how fast you really need to be. For most of you, you're going to be okay coming up here, going into your order entry window, hitting the buy button, selecting what you want for a price, selecting your quantity. Might take 20 seconds at most, right? At most, even when you put a stop in there, right? Even when you put a stop in there. Because a lot of these, again, you should already have these settings basically set up, and I'm going to show you the settings now. But again, this should not take very long anyways, so keep that in mind when I go through some of the rest of this video. Not everything's going to be for you, okay? First of all, up here in the file, global configuration. Now, this is your hotkeys tab. I'm going to first, just a quick reminder, for those of you that don't know, some of you with a little bit of a better computer, you're going to be wanting to kick this memory allocation up. The start is pretty low, and those of you that have sort of data problems and maybe screen loading problems, go ahead and kick this up. 2048 is basically the max in terms of what it can load. It's not so much that if your computer's faster, it can't load it. It's just the way the program works. So go ahead, kick that up. That's a good start there. In terms of there's some other housekeeping ideas, sounds and shit like that, messages, notifications, right? Those kind of things. I turn the desktop notifications off. It's just, I mean, if you make a significant amount of trades, you don't need a notification going off every time, and especially if you're going to be going over here to the hotkeys tab and making some instant orders. Some other housekeeping things in the orders tab. Over here, you're going to be wanting to select, not specifically in settings, but in smart routing, you're going to be wanting to be turning your smart routing on. Make sure that this is selected. And then in the IBALGO section, adaptive is going to be basically everything you're doing for options. And then go ahead over here to the presets. If you're just trading options like myself, go over to the options tab. This is presets for every single option order. This is where you need to do some of the housekeeping work here in terms of what your default orders are. Now we're going to set up hotkeys for multiple different sizes and whether you want stops attached, but you're going to want a default order. In terms of that, this sometimes get changed and you can have multiple hotkeys, but I'm going to just show you one default. So let's say you put a default limit order in there for just one contract, just to keep it simple. What you're then going to do, let's say you wanted to, on the hotkey, attach a stop order. You want to make that stop order a parent order and then select what kind of stop you want on there. Again, it's just going to be a market order that gets placed with it, and it gets triggered based on whatever this is. The parent order would be whatever you put as the limit buy. If it was a limit buy, it would be whatever that limit price was. And then I just have it on -1% for this setting. Again, this is where you need to be dictating that for, let's just say, one of the default hotkeys. Again, not for the specified ones. Scroll further down here. You're going to be making sure that prefer smart is checked. Smart is just smart routing, which, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you are a retail trader, is basically automatic anyway. Even if you didn't select it, it would be the case, but I would select it anyway. And then use price management algo. This isn't really anything other than this precautionary sort of thing. It's basically if you selected something that was significantly out of the money or something. Excuse me, like if it was in the sense that the limit was out of sort of the zone, then it would go ahead and adjust it. You should just have this click because it's going to be popping up with notifications every 5 seconds if you click something the wrong way. But again, this goes to you shouldn't be buying something if you don't know what it is. So, but click this on there. This will help a lot of things. And again, you can read these tooltips and everything. Next up, down here, algorithm. For just about everybody, and I know I've talked about this in different ways, and it depends. You're going to be wanting to set some sort of destination algorithm. Now, this again is dependent on how you're going to do your hotkeys, and you're going to see in a moment. I have mine set on the default, the preset here, to the normal IBALGO, the adaptive algo, in the patient setting. Now, again, the adaptive, all the adaptive algorithm means here is it's going to look to split the spread and get you filled at the best price as fast as possible. Okay? It's faster than a normal limit order every single time. There's just some different ideas around what happens with it. That again, we're going to take a look at some of these things. I would just go ahead and set this up. You can put it on the normal. You can put it on normal. I have it on patient. This favorite sections here is just what would go in the order entry menu, since we're just going to be looking at just some currencies here because the market's not open. You're not going to see it, but that will just be what's in here. So I would go ahead and select those. And again, I'm going to talk about these a little bit here in a moment. Just take a look at these settings here. The other thing I do want to mention is over here in information tools, go to quote details here. For those of you going to be table trading from a watch list, come over here to this quote details and information tools and deselect this show advanced quote details link. What this is on the ticker, this little blue arrow, the amount of times that you will click that when you're trying to select a ticker and then it opens up this window is astronomical. Go ahead and take that off. If you want to see the extra details, you can click on the ticker and click it and look at the details. You don't want to be clicking every ticker and have that pop up every second. It's a pain in the ass. If I want to look at things, I'll look at it. One other note, again, these are all delayed because this is the paper trading account. So again, that's why you see everything looking like this. But FX market's open. So let's get into the hotkey section. Again, when we go over this, set this up accordingly. Now you're gonna have some default settings in here. Basically for buying and selling though, the only thing that's default is left click on ask and bid. That's the only thing that's going to go into the order entry window. So you basically have free reign to set some things up. I'm going to show you just a few of these tickers, hotkeys down here, which then can be customized accordingly. I'm going to start with just some of the basic ideas here. First of all, you go over here. These are the different things you can do for hotkeys. You're going to be selecting buy. Okay. If we're setting up buy hotkeys here, you're going to select buy here. All right, and what I'm going to do is just show you how mine is set up. So you click create shortcut, right? This is what it's going to pop up with. You're going to select what your hotkey is. You're going to hit record and select what your hotkey is. Now, in terms of how you're going to do this, those of you that have, this is probably going to depend on if you played video games or not. Now or when you were a kid, I have mine set up on QWE. S is to close positions, X is to close all, and then so buy limits is QWE. Above that is 1, 2, 3. My Q is an order size of 1. My W is an order size of 5, and my E is an order size of 10. My buy limit with a stop is the same thing. 1 is with 1, 2 is with 5, and 3 hotkey is with 10. And they have a stop attached, which is whatever my default stop is. So let's go through these again. So just again, in terms of hotkeys, this is up to you. This is what I have. And this buy with the A button is my default buy, which I talked about from the presets. Whatever you have your presets as is what that will be. And that's where you literally just put all of these settings to default. You quite literally just select a hotkey and put everything to default. And whatever you put in that preset section is what this will be. This is the big thing to keep in mind is the transmit order instantly. As soon as you click the button, the order will go to the exchange. So this is, again, I'm going to show this here on the others when we configure these. So again, select your hotkey. This is for if you haven't want any mouse settings, you can select like a shift click sort of key instead with the mouse if you want, but I prefer to use the hotkey. So over here, buy, this is where you can select size. Now again, if you want default, that would be whatever your default sizing is. Completely up to you, but since we use multiple hotkeys, absolute. This is we're going to use one as an example. Again, you can select whatever you want. Now, this is where you're going to set up what kind of orders are you going to be doing. Now, this is also where are you going to be using the algo to split the spread. Let's talk for a moment about the algo. I would say for just about everything, the algo is better. But this is where the kind of algo you use is going to be important. If the spread is wide, and you guys have asked us a lot, if the spread is wide, then you want to be using the algo with the patient setting. This is where some of you, I've told you that on those tickers that have a wide spread, this will find you a better price, but it's going to take a different amount of time. And if you have it on the normal one, I would usually tell you that due to the aggressiveness of a lot of these, and if you're not looking to set up a big order, so this would be for some of you that have smaller sizing, you want to be careful with this if it's not a liquid ticker, because if you're only saying, let's say you're buying one contract and it's not that expensive, right? Let's say the order's under like $500 or something, you're not going to get filled for the best price. IB is not going to spend its time trying to get you a good order for your one order. I'm sorry. Like your $500 order is not getting priority, right? For those of you on the larger side, I would say anything above $1,000, you're going to get some priority there. And you just want to be putting this on patient for everything, right? And this is the difference between just using a normal limit order or an IBALGO order, the adaptive order. The difference is whether or not you're sizing. If you're in a small account, a limit order is completely fine, and you can set up your limit order to whatever sort of limit price you want. So that would be, let's say you want your limit order to be between the ask and the bid, so you do the mid price, right? Mid and ask point, or you can go put it to the ask and say, okay, minus, let's say 1% of the spread or 0.5% of the spread, then we'll do it. Or you can do it with ticks because 1% is quite a bit on a lot of tickers. Or you can set it by the amount. You don't need to fill this out if you're selecting a destination algorithm, because this is going to split the spread if it's applicable, okay? So you don't need to go ahead and split this or do anything. You can just put the ask price, or you can put default. I just put the ask in here in case there isn't a possibility of putting the algo. That way I don't get screwed. I would just do it just in case. Sometimes there are, you never know sometimes. So I would just put the ask price and then let it, again, this will go ahead and put an order there. I'm going to say one thing before you test out, before you like screw around with Hotkeys. I would make sure that in your broker, you would do the default settings first with the algorithm to make sure that this doesn't just send a normal order. I'm going to show you that after what it looks like, and you'll know if it's using the algo or not. Over here is if you want to attach an order to it. For this hotkey, we're not going to do that. I'm going to show you that on the next one, but you can put a stop order attached with it for the hotkey. Now, here's the big question again. Do you want to transmit the order instantly? If you don't select this, what it will do is when you click on the ticker and then you click your hotkey, so in this instance Q, if I clicked Euro USD and hit Q, it would load these settings into the order entry window, meaning you would then need to click submit. And so it would give you the chance to change some things here. So again, you could click Q here. Let's say you had your absolute at like 10. It would fill this with a quantity of 10. It would be a limit order at the ask price with however you set it, right? This is just set to the ask price. So anything, this is splitting the spread because I have it as an algo. Keep these ideas in mind. If you click this, it will be instant, and I'm going to show you that here. So let me get out of that. I'm going to show you. I'm going to click my Q button here. You're just going to have to trust me that that's what I'm clicking. So I'm going to click, let's say USD JPY Q. It sends the order to the exchange to buy at the ask price, but it's going to look to fill. That's just a limit buy. So the max price is the ask price that you see over here, right? And so it gets sent to the exchange, okay? Now you see it in your order window here. For the activity window, what I would do is just go to live, stick it on the live, because it will actually remove these as they're no longer active. It's a little bit better. So that's for one button there, okay? Now, as that's just sitting there and possibly getting filled, and it just got filled right there, let's go now to the sell button, okay? So the sell hotkey. This is where let me show you up here. So up here, you're going to have a closed position. I already have it down here, but you'll see closed position up here. This is important because this is to actually exit the position. If you use the sell button, that will be to go short and actually sell. So you need to be careful about that idea. And it's the same thing as if you're doing the order entry window up here and you click sell. It's not that you're selling your position. You're actually selling in short. And you actually can't have both open at the same time anyway. And so you're going to get like a notification that, hey, man, you're an idiot. You can't do that. So you're going to want the closed position. So open up closed position. This has no customization. This is just the opposite of whatever the order's placed. So hotkey, I have mine on S. It's, again, you can ask it to go ahead and do it instantly. And so what this is going to do is it's going to make an exact opposite order of the order that was placed originally. And so when I go ahead and over here and click USD JPY, let me actually put this on all orders because now you guys are confused. I'm going to click S, right? I'm going to click S right now. And now it's going to sell in the same fashion that we were buying from before. It's just the opposite. So that limit was at the ask. Now the limit was at the bid. Now the ask and the bid are the exact same on the FX because, again, the FX market's pretty tight. But so you can see that this was just placed at the opposite of the order, and that's again in the preset where if you close a position, it just does the exact opposite. I'm going to show you the stop now and why the stop's a little different here. So that's for one. Again, these other hotkeys I have are just different absolutes. So it's that same idea, but it's an absolute this time of 5. And so again, the destination algorithm. Now again, these are FXs, so they're not using this. This is why these hotkeys can be used for different times and based on if it's a stock or an option. Stock and options will get filled on the IBALGO here. These actually, FX uses different algos, so keep that in mind. So again, these three are just different sizes, okay? Just different sizes, absolute. Again, same as that other one. I'm going to show you the stop now. So this is that same sizing of 1. Everything is the same here, but the difference is I put the stop over here. You go ahead, stop, parent order, and then you select. Now again, this is where you need to determine what kind of trader you are. Where is your stop price going to be? Again, it's not always going to be perfect filling on a stop. If it's not a very good spread, then you need, let's say it's a very wide spread, right? Some of you have some trouble with that. You need to be very careful about putting a stop order on there. I don't put stop orders on, I would say, a majority of my tickers because I just got the mental stop, right? Got the mental stop. If I see my ticker going down, I know when I need to react based on my levels. It's hard to put this on the hotkey. So if you want to put a stop order at a support level, then you need to just put that after, okay? You can't be screwing around with it. What I would say is that for this is when, let's say, 9:30, you know you're going to be active, then you want to be using these stops. Let's say you put it at, let's say you put it at 5%, like some average number, right? So you don't get stopped out immediately. Otherwise, what you're going to be doing is only using these on very liquid tickers. FX is obviously a very good example. This would be like buying shares on the SPY and shit like that, right? Or even just SPY calls that are, extremely liquid, right? Otherwise, what you want to do is you can be buying with a hotkey, and then what you want to do is thereafter. So for this position, for instance, you would put a stop on there by just virtue of actually putting the stop on there without a hotkey, okay? So if you had a support at a certain level, put the stop in thereafter. And I talk about that during like your prep at night. You put the stops in overnight and change it. Usually you don't want to be moving your stop, but you can put it after. So keep that in mind in terms of those. I will show you just real quick. If let's say I hit my 2 key, my 2 is that same buy order, but it's going to attach a stop to it. So I just hit 2, so it put that limit buy in, and it also put the stop in. So what will happen is if I get filled on this order, once I do, the stop loss will be active, and it will stop me out. You can see the JPY, the USD JPY just got filled there, and so that's to see that. So keep this in mind in terms of stop. And again, if you want to cancel these orders, go ahead. The attached order will be canceled with the prior order, okay? Now, over here, so that's that. You can have a sell all button if you want. That's just close all positions on the page. This will open up a window. There is a dialog. There's a couple different ways you can do it. Close all positions is just a ticker that you close, a ticker that you have clicked on. If you have multiple different orders on it, usually you know whether you need to be assigning the close position or close all positions button. Almost always, you can have 2 different buttons, but you could do that however you want. That's up to you again. Just showing you the essentials here. There's cancel buttons and everything else. I like to click my cancel. I don't like to actually select the ticker and then cancel the order. I like to click it so that I have a difference between buying and selling and then order sort of transmissions and everything like that. You can have transmission orders, but I'll show you that in a second. I just want to go over the default setting here real quick. Again, this would be for testing the algo. Go ahead and put this on everything on default in here, a buy order, and then just test it on a ticker by clicking that, and that will tell you whether or not, I can't show you here because it's delayed data and it doesn't have a limit price here, but if you have data and there's a limit, there's actual bid and ask price, it will fill based on that. So I would just test it with a default and see what that order looks like here. Take this transmission thing off, right, and just see that it gets correctly filled there. What I wanna show, I'll show you the close all button. I don't think I can do it. Okay, so yeah, so I just clicked X. It will pop up with this dialog, and you can choose to close all your positions. Again, I've memed about the sell all button again. I've memed about it before, but there is an ability to do this, and using the algo, it will help. So again, if you have that preset with the default algo in there, right? So it's already selected for me. It will get you out of your positions correctly. And again, you shouldn't be selling like at the last second anyway. You should have already had stops if it's really bad and shit like that, right? So keep that in mind. In terms of closing position, I'm going to show you, I'm going to go ahead and lever up some positions here. I'm going to show you just getting different orders through, and you can just see the level of which these come through, right? And then if you want to sell them, clicking the sell button, when even some of them are through, I'm going to show you just sort of the convenience of this idea. So if you need to cancel one of these, again, I like to click the actual cancel button, okay? Clicking the actual cancel button is nice. And then again, if you wanted to put a stop on, actually adding that on there after, it doesn't need to be immediate, right? If you're buying something, you shouldn't have to be worrying about it going down. But just again, to show you the convenience here, it is extremely convenient. All you need to do is select through, and again, even if these were spread, let's say you had these everywhere, it's just so much easier to click through here, and that's all you're doing, right? That's literally all you're doing. Now, in terms of management of this, you again, if you're not very good with hotkeys and you have the instant button on, of course there's going to be times when you don't even know if you're on the right one. You just need to be aware of what you're doing if you have the instant button on, right? You need to know this is where maybe your UI needs to be set up so you can clearly see. You need to be making sure this shit's not moving. I've had times where if there used to be a setting where if you selected it so that it would sort by the highest winners, right? It would start moving and you'd go to click and hit the button and then it would have already moved the ticker based on the percent. It doesn't do that anymore. You have to actually click the column. What I would say is I sort by, just like I do in the Discord, I sort by what's the most bullish or what's the most, like, my priority in terms of tiers, and I sort them, and so I know sort of where exactly I'm going to be. There are times when I'll use sort of an arrow key, this kind of idea, right? But again, you can click anywhere and hit that button. I'm going to show you over here the difference between setting it up beforehand. You can see how I just tried to set up a BABA weekly, but see how it says you need a price? So that's, again, just because of the data, but it would be the same. This is how you can set up orders beforehand, though. So I talked about I spend a lot of time at night setting up my orders the night before. Again, you can turn off these dialogue things, but you set this up the night before, have all these. These are doing it because I don't have the data. If you do have the data, it would just sit there, and it would also say the same thing. It would say cancel, and it would just be sitting there waiting for the market. What you can then do, let me just delete these, just to the delete button. What you can do, let me just go ahead and do this like this. So again, watch, let's just say $3 at the ask. Let me put a stop price in here. Let's put the stop at 281. Good job. Okay. So, see this dialog that just popped up? You can't have a stop with an adaptive limit order, right? You're going to get this a lot if you're trying to make these orders, and this is where you need to figure out what exactly your order types is and what your presets are. Now, you can put a stop on the order, but it can't be an adaptive. that hotkey that we used and that button that we just used, what it's trying to do is that's doing the stop order, that's the opposite. The stop order needs to be a market, okay? It needs to be a market like this. And so it needs to be attached. When you put these orders on overnight, you want to be pausing. See that pause execution button? There is a hotkey for that as well. When the market's not open, you don't need to do that. You want to be pausing these and see the submit button. What you can do is have a few of these orders set up, okay? You have a few of these orders set up. Let's say you've got a limit order at, again, you can put it as the algo. Let me turn it off. Turn off the stop loss there. And so let's say you're putting in these orders, right? And submitting them. You submit these overnight. If you don't want this to hit the exchange in the morning, you got to be pausing it. Pause it. What you're going to then do in the morning, let's say you've got 20 different orders in here, right? As soon as the market opens, right? As soon as the market opens and you're watching these, let's say the charts, you're just watching the tickers and you see where the bid is, you can quickly change this. There is a price hotkey, but it's almost a waste of time when you already have the thing here. If you need to switch it, then you can quickly switch it. It will sort based on where the price actively is. A lot of the times though, you can just put this to where the price was before. And if you're using an adaptive algo, it doesn't matter anyway. The adaptive is going to split the bid and the ask anyways. So if you have the adaptive limits already in there, you place the adaptive limit in there, you don't need to worry about it. And so the thing that you don't want to do though is have it like this, where it goes to the exchange immediately, because what's going to happen is it's going to fill in that very first second. When do we ever place an order like that? We're always sitting there and we use our yes/no trades of, okay, is the trade going bid here? So it's opening on support and we're doing a yes or no. Is the price going bid? You're literally just watching it. Oh, I got a bid side of 1600 to 500 here. Yeah, it's going. Look at this one, 1578 to 39. Yeah, it's going bid. Submit it, right? And that's it. Now, in terms of the execution here, this is where, again, it depends on how many orders you're doing, but you should be able to, of course, do these orders while hitting submit here, right? You should be able to do these orders at the same time. Okay, so keep those ideas in mind of getting the orders already in there. A lot of the times that's a lot easier than having to then make the order. So those two orders there, let's say you had 20 orders set up. Instead of just having just the tickers over here on the watch list, put the order in already. If you know it's a yes or no trade at the open, that it's opening on support, and that you want to possibly buy it at open, put the order in the night before, pause it, like I showed you. You just right click on it and pause it, okay? And then at open, submit it. That's it. And there are times, again, it depends on what kind of order you're putting in there. There are times when you can just have that go to the exchange immediately, but it's almost never, that's not how we trade, right? Now, in terms of whether you're using patient, aggressive or not, you need to fiddle with it. And again, it's about sizing. I would say for anyone doing big orders, you put that bad boy on the patient setting and you're going to do a lot better. It's going to take a little bit longer. And so this is where possibly for some of you, let's say you want to buy like 20 calls and the volume is like, I don't know. You're basically the volume. You're going to make up basically all the volume of the day. Then putting it on the patient one is possibly not the greatest. Maybe try for yourselves. Again, I know it's different on each person's account. It's just how it is. It depends on the order, the sizing, the priority. I would try out maybe buying one call. Let's say one call with a patient order, one call with a normal, and one call with an urgent. And again, you can just go into the advanced section here and actually change it. So you go into the adaptive, it should already be on the, let me just show it real quick. It should already be on the, if you have it as a default, it should already be there. And when you go into the advanced thing here, you can select it, whether you want patient, normal, or urgent. Again, I think patient really is the best one. It's just my recommendation. But you can change it and try just buying one of each and see what the difference is for yourself and see which one you're comfortable with in terms of timing. When I'm making let's say 20 orders at open, I'm fine with them taking a moment to think about it, right? Because usually it's going to take a moment. Like, if you're not going to miss it. Now you talk about it. I'm willing to miss 1% for the actual ability to capture it on the pricing that I want, right? You might miss 1%, but you're going to get a full fill. I'm a lot more happy with that. So keep those in mind. I hope this helps a bit. I know I've talked for about 30 minutes now, but again, it's a pretty basic thing, but again, I know sometimes it's not always obvious, right? It's not always obvious to be doing certain things. And let me go ahead and just place a bunch of orders and get you out of here. So again, my E button, I'm buying 10. I'm just buying shares there. Here's one with the stop order in there. You can cancel it. You can just cancel the stop order. Like, nah, I don't need the stop order there. And you can do this very quickly, right? So you can really get this going. And if you need to then sell the position, so if there was a position there, you could sell it very quickly. And again, I like to cancel my orders through here. You can put a cancel button. It's very easy to put a cancel button. Again, it's very much up to you how you want to do this. Hope this helps. The next video should be up in the next couple days or so as well. So enjoy. I'll see you guys in the chat. And until next time.